Experience, a.k.a. a Stu's Crew pop-up going down Big Willie style right now on a Monday night. Fresh off of a Two Live Stu's Experience Monday show early this morning. So much talk going on with the NFC, AFC talk, I figured we'd put it to bed before we move on any further. It's your boy, One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart, joined by the other Two Live Stu, that being Doug Stewart, and the man, the myth, the legend himself, Joe Ham is in the building with the Stews, man. Y'all get it for Joe Ham.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you was going to say, fresh off the plane, you know my damn name.
Well, there wasn't really a plane for anybody to get off of, so I don't like to lie when I do that.
Okay.
That's a factual statement.
Joe Ham, what up, homeboy?
Hey, man, listen, man, my belly is full. I'm getting a little sad or saddened by the NFL season going so fast. Football season in general going by fast. But I must say, Doug, it's been outstanding from college to now the NFL. Very few blowouts, entertaining storylines, entertaining games. And, oh, by the way, is the football that we grew up on. Turnovers, right. If you make those mistakes, and penalties, self-inflicted penalties and self-inflicted wounds, pre-snap penalties, so to speak, you lose. You lose. It's big boy ball now, but I'm doing outstanding, fellas.
So Joe, Doug and I had a couple of hours this morning to get a lot of this stuff off of our chest. You hadn't had that time. Let's start by talking about which game you would like to start with, Joe, to get your initial thoughts. What game you want to start with, Joe?
I want to start with Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. And here's why. Shout out to Jalen Hurts right away. And I know how you're going to look at it. I know how people are going to say, how do you start off with him? And Saquon Barkley is doing what he's doing. Amazing. Go-to guy. You have to feed him. I understand. But what I saw was Jalen Hurts said to the Commanders, and he's really saying that to the Chiefs as well, back up off of me. And when I'm talking about when I'm also talking 8 in the box, hanging that safety down for an extra hat, linebackers, back up. Okay, because when you do that, my old reading book, A.J. Brown, he's not going to be reading books anymore. He's going to be one-on-one.
Reading book.
Reading book on the sideline, A.J. Brown, that's a matchup nightmare. And when you have one-on-one against that physical specimen, he reminds me of T.O. Terrell Owens. I'm not putting him in the Hall of Fame, but he reminds me of the physicality, the one-on-one matchup, just that. And if Jalen Hurts can be accurate, if he can, have that run threat option and beat you with his arms like that, that's my story right now. And I know feed Saquon. That's you got to get him 25 to 30 touches. But Jalen Hurts is my story right now.
And Joe, you know something that's not being talked about? This is his second Super Bowl appearance in 3 years. It's like we conveniently forget while we talk about the Patrick Mahomeses, the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens. While we talk about those guys, I think we kind of belittle or we disrespect Jalen because he's a beast in his own right. Now, only being in this league for about 4 or 5 years, and now he's going to his second Super Bowl. Why is he overlooked, Joe?
Oh, man, I'm glad you said that, Stu. And this is the thing that burns my bacon really, really bad. We don't make any excuses for Jalen. We don't make any of them. As soon as he make a mistake, then we ride him like we don't ride any other quarterback, black, blue, brown, white, I don't care. And you said he's been in the league 4 or 5 years, right, Stu? Doug, let me give y'all a stat. And out of those 4 or 5 years, he had, 3 or maybe 4 different coordinators? Any other quarterback that goes through that transition, we give them the benefit of the doubt. Not Jalen. Not Jalen. And again, while I'm at it, shout out to Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore came in first year on the Eagles offensive coordinator, and what he's doing, feeding Jalen, feeding Saquon, feeding him, Saquon Barkley, not getting caught up in the receivers got so many targets, so many catches. Just win, baby. Jalen Hurts is underlooked. Jalen Hurts can now he can put that to bed, bro, in 2 weeks. He can put that narrative to bed in 2 weeks, and that's why I'm looking forward to Jalen Hurts being himself and then Saquon Barkley.
Doug, we didn't talk about that earlier this morning, man. Jalen Hurts is on his 4th or 5th coordinator, And Patrick Mahomes had 7 years with Andy Reid in the same spot. I mean, that makes a big difference when it comes to overall performance and how a guy can draw things up in the dirt or how he can go through with a game plan.
Yeah, and Joe, you made a good point, man. This is Jalen Hurts' 5th year, and he's going to 2 Super Bowls. Did he even start his first year? I don't even know if he started.
He started the last, I think, 6 games. He didn't start
6 games.
Yeah, first half of the season, but he came on starting a little bit later. And guys, and that's what I'm talking about. If it had been any other quarterback, we would say how smart that quarterback is. That quarterback is so smart. Look at these. You look at the playbook he's learning in one offseason. Man, he can digest the playbook. He can learn it on the fly. We would give him kudos for that. Outside of that, he's struggling to get that. He's a NFL passer. Man, get out of here. Boo. He's an overall outstanding quarterback that's worth every dollar he's getting paid.
This guy is going to 2nd Super Bowl in 5 years. And let's not forget, the first Super Bowl.
No. 2nd and 3. 2nd and 3 years.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm talking about his whole career. Right. So 2nd and 3.
Okay.
2nd and 3. The first Super Bowl, he balled out. He had 1 passing touchdown, 310 yards passing, no interceptions. He had 3 rushing touchdowns. He did everything he was supposed to in that Super Bowl win. And now he gets a second opportunity, I think, with a better team, a more poised team. I'm looking for a big game out of him in this next Super Bowl in New Orleans, man.
Yeah, and I look for a big game as well. It just comes down to the one-on-one matchups. It comes down to the Philadelphia Eagles. What more? Kicking game with Elliott, sound. Defense, beyond sound. Then offensively, you got all those weapons. And Harry, I think it's Roseman, Howie Roseman, the general manager. Come on, guys. This is a team built to sustain the cold. They can run it. They can beat you with the pass. But, oh, by the way, the next matchup.
Yeah.
Joe, you mentioned the efficiency of the one-on-one matchups. There was a 4th and 5 last night, and the Philadelphia Eagles decided to go for it late in the game. Still a game, still competitive, still a chance for the Skins to do something. It's 4th and 5, and A.J. Brown streaks down the field, and Jalen catches the one-on-one matchup and throws it right in the breadbasket. He gets 2 or 3 steps in and stays in bounds before going out of bounds. He's a very efficient quarterback and a very efficient passer when he needs to be, Joe. Where would you rate him amongst the final 2 quarterbacks that's remaining in this upcoming season?
What do you mean? Well, how do I rate them? Is this a trick question? You joking?
No. I want your quarterback perspective on these two quarterbacks that's left.
No, I understand what you're doing. No, I appreciate that, Stu. But I mean, there's only Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts left. Now, we're not comparing. I mean, you're telling me to talk about both of them. I can totally do that. But not who's better or who I give them a favor.
Are you ishing on Jalen Hurts, though? Are you saying that?
Oh, yes, and compare to Patrick
Mahomes. In the field with Patrick Mahomes?
Yes, I am doing that. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, no. What's proof in the pudding is that he earned his way to the Super Bowl, and he's a top 7, top 10 quarterback in the National Football League, Jalen Hurts. But when he's on that stage with Patrick Mahomes, up until now, there are no comparisons at all. I mean, absolutely none. And he's got a chance to inch a little bit closer by 1, winning a Super Bowl, and by 2, beating Patrick Mahomes in winning that Super Bowl. So it's not the end of that book, but no, Ryan Stewart, Jalen Hurts does not compare to Patrick Mahomes at all.
When we
go ahead, Doug.
No, I was gonna say we're talking about the NFC championship game from yesterday. Before we get to predictions about the Super Bowl, let's talk about the AFC. Let's talk about Kansas City, what you saw out of Kansas City yesterday. The Bills, Kansas City taking on the Bills. Bills had opportunities at the very end, but it just seemed like that the calls, in particular the one, measurement of the first down at the very end came into play. What are your thoughts about KC and the Bills? What are your thoughts about some of the questionable calls? Were they questionable? Your thoughts in general?
Yeah, you're not that guy, Doug. I hope not. You're not that guy, Doug. Don't.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
I'll tell you in a second if I'm that guy. Go ahead. I'll tell you.
No, I'm going to respect everything that's coming out of your mouth, but questionable calls. I didn't see any questionable calls. I saw, calls that were made and some calls that could have been one way or the other. But that's why I saved this game to talk about last or in the latter parts of it, because it lived up to the billing. Come on, man. 2 top quarterbacks in all of football coming down to the last 1 or 2 possessions. Were there any turnovers? I don't think any turnovers in the ball game at all. Now, you had some turnover on downs, yes, but no turnovers. It wasn't sloppy play. Everybody showed up, and it came down to the quarterback play. Now, Josh Allen played well, but he had a chance to win it. He had a chance. He had his chance with 3 minutes and I think 43 seconds left in the ball game, and he just didn't get it done. Yeah, we can look at it, and I'm a quarterback, so I'm going to speak very adamantly about this. It goes on our shoulders. You know, you can go a perfect game and you can do whatever you want to do. Well, Joe did his and Josh Allen did his part, but what more could he do? Do something. Do something more. I'm not blaming him, but it's all going to fall on your shoulders. And Josh Allen had his chance. He didn't do it. And Patrick Mahomes, we know what he did with his opportunity.
Josh Allen had 3 fumbles and recovered all 3 fumbles. Ray Davis had a fumble, recovered a fumble. Patrick Mahomes had 1 fumble and lost 1 fumble. So this was the first weekend where a team that had a turnover ultimately still won their ball game, because between these 2 teams, 2 powerhouses, you know, there were several turnovers, all recovered by the same team, but KC did lose the 1 fumble that they had.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just appreciate him because I forgot about Patrick Mahomes' fumble. And again, he's a little bit lucky, because that is why I'm not making any excuse for Cam Newton. But you remember back in the Super Bowl when Cam Newton did not jump on that ball? He lackadaisically went after it. Patrick Mahomes is almost in that same type of situation with his fumble. I mean, he didn't stick that arm out there like your life really depended on it. And I get why. I mean, that's a touchy situation. I know that's the church's money. You don't want to lose that. But right. My goodness, I mean, hey, that's a touchy thing to put your arm there unprotected to go for a fumble. But yeah, I forgot about that, and they overcame it. But we must remember, Stu, I put that turnover on down with the Buffalo Bills. I even a turnover battle with that a little bit, because although it's not a turnover, that turnover on down with that questionable 4th down call on Josh Allen was a turnover to me.
I guess we should probably save your predictions towards the end of the show. 2 things I want to talk about real quick. Patrick Mahomes has averaged 4 carries per game so far this season. Patrick Mahomes this past Sunday ran the ball 11 times.
Yeah.
Can you speak to the greatness of Kansas City and the greatness of Andy Reid and the greatness of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid together? They just do what needs to be done. They find ways to win. And in that 4th quarter, when there was still a toss-up ball game, I didn't have a doubt in my mind who would win that damn game on yesterday. I didn't question it at all.
Yeah, and Stu, it goes back to it, man, fellas, the fact that let's not forget about Andy Reid. We can call Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid whatever we want to call them, but I'm going to throw a little nuance in it. They're patient. Why do you say patient? I say patient because they didn't run Patrick Mahomes at all in the first matchup with Buffalo. If you look back at that stat line, he didn't carry the ball at all. You look back in his history in the playoffs last year, he didn't carry the ball that much at all, but let alone last night, he had 2 design runs. Design. Now, I'm not looking about the ad-libbing and escaping the pocket and, making things happen when the pocket breaks down. Design
from the headset to the quarterback, it was called.
And I was reading up last night, fellas, that last touchdown on that 18 sweep or whatever Pat Mahomes ran for, I think, 11 yards. They stole that from the Baltimore Ravens when the Ravens played them. That same exact, when the Ravens played the Chiefs. The Bills. Mm-hmm. The same exact formation, touchdown Lamar Jackson ran in. Andy Reid said, let's put that in. Maybe that'll work. And he held it. He held it until that time. So that's all about coaching. That's why, other than Patrick Mahomes, you cannot go against Andy Reid. And, oh, by the way, guys, we cannot forget about Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator. It brings up to my mind that we rush everybody to say that would be a great head coach. He's the next up-and-coming head coach. He's great. And when they don't do that, we say they failed. They're not that good. What happened? No, guys, some people are just Wade Phillips. Some people are just like Rex Ryan. Great coordinators, but they're not good head coaches. That's all. You can be a great coordinator, and I think Spags is one of the greatest coordinators of all time.
Doug, let me give a shout out to the super chat before you ask the next question or go where we're going to go after this. Shouts out to Melvin Echoes. Y'all know who he is. Bay 11 Towing. Give Melvin a number or give Melvin a call at 447-770-6949. We appreciate you, Melvin. Tree Taylor even showed some love today. Appreciate you, Tree. And Gary Portis, shouts out to you, man. We appreciate all the super chat, man. Every single dollar goes to the business, which comes back to you all. So thank y'all very much for all of your donations. Go ahead, Doug.
Joe, a hot and heavy theme on the show. The first show that we did last week after the divisional round was Lamar Jackson not getting it done. I don't know. Maybe you've talked about this already on another pop-up or
that's cool,
on the Joe Ham show. But a lot of people don't realize that it took Peyton Manning and Drew Brees 9 years to get their first ring. And it took John Elway 15 years to get his first ring.
Right.
Okay. Very disappointing. Lamar Jackson didn't get it done again this year. Seems like it's a constant theme with him. Do you think that he's going to get a ring at some point or another, or do you think it might be another situation where a quarterback always falls short in the playoffs and kind of like the Buffalo Bills? Back in the day with Jim Kelly, they went to 4 Super Bowls. They lost 4 in a row. Do you think that this guy's going to have his time in the spotlight and winning a ring, or do you think that he came around at the wrong time? Kind of like if we talk about people that came around in basketball during the Jordan era.
Yeah.
They just came at the wrong time. Do you think that Lamar might be in that same category?
Oh, boy. Yes. Yes,
Ooh.
but nothing to do with Lamar Jackson. It's just that, are you going to go with Lamar Jackson or are you going to go with the field? And remember the field. That's Josh Allen. That's Patrick Mahomes. That's Joe Burrow. That's that's John Harbaugh out there with Justin Herbert.
Yep.
I mean, so yes, I have a lot of faith in Lamar Jackson. I like John Harbaugh and the way he's built that team. A lot of faith in upper management, general manager, building that team around. But boy, I would have to go with the field. And I do think, but if you was going to put me and we don't straddle the fence, Doug, I know that. If you're going to say Lamar Jackson or the field, I'm going with the field. But I do think that he might, I know I'm, trying to contradict him a little bit. I think he might overcome it somewhere down the line, but I don't see where. I don't see where, because again, this wasn't a great Kansas City team, or this isn't.
Right.
It's what it is, a team.
Right.
And they beat you as a team. So, man, I don't see them going anywhere. Or Josh Allen.
Wow.
Or Joe Burrow.
Quick couple of questions, Joe. Quarterback matchups. You already said you're giving that nod to Patrick Mahomes. Head coaching matchups between Andy Reid and Sirianni. Who are you giving that edge to?
Andy Reid. Andy Reid, without a shadow of a doubt. And I even said it last week that I thought that Dan Quinn had a little edge over Sirianni. But Sirianni proved me wrong. He made some really good decisions in the ball game, some in-game decisions, clock management. I like the way he's doing that. But I got to give credit to, again, him hiring a staff. I think he can leave Kellen Moore alone, and I think he can leave Vic Fangio. What Vic Fangio did, what Vic Fangio did in 1 year, turning that defense around, being from the last or bottom ranking pass defense to where they are this year, spectacular, man, spectacular.
Joe, whose O-line is better? Whose D-line is better between Philly and Kansas City?
Kansas City has 2 All-Pro in that offensive line, but I'll be very foolish to say they have an overall better offensive line than the Philadelphia Eagles. We talked about it last week. 2.5 yards a carry before Saquon gets touched. I mean, before he gets touched. And when he gets touched, that's a head of steam. I mean, Doug, you played in the backfield. Try to tackle that thigh. Try to hit him low. And if you try to hit him low and read the belt buckle or get in a balanced situation, then he's going to leave you, man, right on a dime. So I have to give that to the Eagles. No doubt, O-line. No doubt.
What about D-line, Joe? Who's got a better D-line?
Man, God, he's a Hall of Fame game record. Specific player, Chris Jones is the best defensive lineman in this matchup. One of the top 5 players on the football field, offensively and defensively. But overall, D-line's got to go with Eagles as well, with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter and them boys stout. So I got to give overall defense to the Eagles.
It's your boys, the Two Live Stews, Doug Stewart, Ryan Stewart. This is a Stews Crew pop-up. Happy to spend some time talking about the NFC, AFC matchups this past weekend right here in the doghouse with your boys on the Stews Crew pop-up.
Don't forget for me to throw out a question about this this new golf league. I want to get y'all thoughts on that. Y'all are avid golfers. I want to get y'all thoughts on that when we get to the end.
I love that.
Tiger and Rory are playing right now. I got a screen.
I was just watching it, Doug. I was just watching it, man. No,
but I want to bring it up a little bit later before we get out of here.
Right. So can we pick this game before we get into some other things, Doug? Or you got something else you want to do before?
No, I was going to ask Joe. What are you thinking? Super Bowl. I mean, a repeat of 3 years ago, and
you got time to change, Joe. You can say something now and change it this Wednesday on the Joe Ham Show, or you can change it next Wednesday on the Joe Ham Show. It's all good.
Yeah, I love this just to be able to do some early research. And right now it's just the eye test. Right now, without digging too far into it, I have to lean Andy Reid coaching, quarterback, Kansas City, big games, been there, done that, won them, Kansas City. So distractions, family, the tickets. And oh, by the way, Andy Reid with time to prepare. 2 weeks now. Oh, Lord have mercy. Unscouted looks. And I know for both teams that you're going to have some wrinkles in there here and there, but just the jitters. And when you have Patrick Mahomes,
it ain't going to get no more wrinkly than Andy Reid and KC. It can't.
What do you mean wrinkly?
When it comes to wrinkles and when it comes to things that can catch the opposing team off guard, they got to have their guards up big time versus Andy Reid.
Yeah, but that's the thing about it, Stu. And for an offensive guy like me, I love that position because you're thinking about my wrinkles. You're thinking about what I have up my sleeve, and that's going to have you extra time and have you focus on a lot of different things and eye candy, what I'm going to present you. Hey, last night, man, he jumped out of the gun with Hollywood Brown. He put Xavier Worthy. And then the Hall of Famer Travis Kelce had 2 catches. And you know what? He loved doing it. When guys like Travis Kelce goes in the game, and I look at his numbers at halftime, third quarter, and immediately when I see them not having targets or struggling to get their numbers, I look at their blocking. I look at and see if they're engaged in the game. What are they doing? Are they pouting? Are they jogging downfield? Are they playing to the echo of the whistle, running out of bounds, being fired up? Travis Kelce is that dude, man. He's that dude that you can give him no targets, and he's blocking. He's high-fiving. That's a football playing Jesse. Those are the type of guys I love. And for the Philadelphia Eagles guys, I'm not saying, and I want this to be very clear, they're going to show up. It's going to be a ball game. It's going to be a ball game, and the reason why I have Kansas City right now is because they have shown me time and time again. This is not guessing. This is time and time again, 17 straight games, when it's a one-score game, including the playoffs, including the Super Bowls, they win. They win. They find a way to win, and it's just not Patrick Mahomes. We can say last night they won on defense on that 4th and 5 call with a corner blitz. Stu, you should be the one talking about this. Just give me a few seconds of why hair's on my hand right now. Josh Allen on that 4th and 5 play for the Buffalo Bills to move the ball to go and try to kick a field goal or score. Josh Allen saw what he thought he saw, but he was fooled. He gave a dummy count. He lifted his leg up. He clapped.
Wasn't it Dalton Kincaid, Joe?
Yeah, well, but that was fluky. That was fluky. Yeah, he dropped it, but that was fluky. I mean, he definitely dropped it, but that was fluky. That was a play after the play had gone, right? That was just Josh Allen. But for Kansas City to hold that disguise to where a veteran like Josh Allen did not see it until it was too late. The safety, Ryan, if you're a safety in cover 2 and you know that corner is coming, you're going to shift over a little bit because you know you're going to get the flats. You don't have to get where you need to be. Those guys disguise, empty formation, unblocked last guy. They outsmarted Josh Allen and Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, on that particular play. That's a defensive win. So it's not just offense. Kansas City is an overall great team with great coordinators.
With a stud like that at the quarterback position, you got to have testicles of steel to call a corner blitz down there on a play like that. You got to have testicles of steel.
You have to, and you have to trust your guys to say, well, when you get there, you're going to have to bring him down. And Josh Allen was not ready for that. Josh Allen, through film study, that's why I'm talking about wrinkles, fellas. That was a wrinkle. Josh Allen, they thought that usually Kansas City was going to play man, in those type of situations with McDuffie. And what did the Buffalo Bills do? They called a mesh route. A mesh route is when you got those two guys trying to mesh in the middle of the field, hopefully getting a rub, or defensively you call it a pick. And they didn't play that. They heat them up. So that's the game within the game. And you remember the last time, Jalen felt some pressure was against the Bucs last year in the playoffs when they heated Jalen Hurts up, sending him different disguises, giving him different looks, backing out of it. If one weakness with Jalen Hurts is seeing the blitz. If you give a vanilla one-on-one on the outside, he'll take advantage of that. But if you show something and get out of it or back out of it, he comes to pat the ball and holds the ball a little bit longer. So I got Kansas City in this game, not without the shadow of a doubt, but in a close one, and Patrick Mahomes doing what he does.
Talking to Joe Hamilton right now on a pop-up, a Stu's pop-up on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Joe Hamilton, second place in the Heisman. What year was it, Joe?
99, brother.
1999, Heisman runner-up. Joe, you played on a team that went to the Super Bowl. You were with Tampa or with the Colts? Were you with the Colts when they went?
Yeah, not when they went, not the Colts, but I was with Tampa when they went. Yes, when we won. Yes, sir.
Talk about the distractions, like that you remember from that. Was it 2 weeks or was it 1 week? Was it the following week after the last game or what?
No, it was the following week. We had one of those things. It was just the following week, so it happened real fast. But there were still distractions. Yeah. I mean, huge distractions. The number one distraction was the tickets. Where are the tickets? And that's real. And it's not just your family. It's the people who you're going to ask. Hey, Doug, you using all 15 of your tickets? Hey, Stu, you using all 15? Because everybody's allotted 15 tickets.
Right.
But you have to buy them. Okay, you have to buy them. You have to buy them. So, but if you're not using 8 of yours, I can get your 8. So, that's not real money for the NFL guys. So the ticket problem and the focusing and the nightlife. Don't you know some of the nightlife with the superstars and the major guys, they put on some things. And not necessarily what we're thinking about, drinking booze, staying up all night, but just time consuming. Any time away from your playbook, any time away from thinking about your opponent. I wouldn't say it's distractions. They are distractions, but what they are is doing just that, taking away from your game planning. So the team that can handle it, the better. They can settle in. And fortunately, just 2 years removed, Philly has been there with the same coach, with the same quarterback and some of the same players. So that'll calm it down a little bit. But yes, sir, there are distractions. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and I just thought about that. That's an advantage because Andy Reid's been through this process. What did we say this morning? 7 times? 8 times?
Yes, 7 times.
7 times he's been to Super Bowl. So his preparation is probably to a T because he's done it so many times. He lost his first Super Bowl in Philadelphia. Whatever he did that weekend or whatever the team did that weekend, they probably, X'd that out. And he's been very successful in Super Bowl since then. So that's a big part of an advantage that they have at going into this game right now already.
Yeah, that's well said, Doug. And as a coach, you would always want your message in the team meeting room at 7:30, 7 o'clock in the morning to be echoed when the team meeting is over. So now with the Kansas City Chiefs, you have Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be talking the same thing. Chris Jones on defense, he's going to be talking the same thing. Harrison Butker, the kicker, he's been through it. Everybody on the team is going to be talking the same thing about distractions, about tickets, about the nightlife, about the rest, about studying the playbook, getting tendencies, all those type things. And you do want to do this. You don't want to win the Super Bowl and all of a sudden forgot that whole week and didn't enjoy the week. So it's a balance. So I'm not calling anybody out to say, don't do that. Watch out for the nightlife. Be a homebody. Don't view New Orleans. Don't get out there and, splurge a little bit. Yeah, there's a time and place for everything, but the end all be all is Super Bowl champs. And we did a good job. The Bucs did a good job of, you had some guys that wanted to put a footprint in their career. Sapp and Brooks and John Lynch and those boys, they said, yeah, we got pretty good careers right here, but this trophy puts you in another whole living room, puts you at a different dinner table. And I'm telling you, when those guys came out and said this was one of the easiest games of their lives, playing against the Raiders, Oakland Raiders back then, They really meant that because of the film study, because how they were prepared and ready to go. They said the practices were harder than that, and I believe them according to the score.
Not calling any names, Joe, not saying this was you, but do you know of anybody that tried to get any prostitutes in the hotel that night before the game?
Well, again, yeah.
Don't stutter, Joe.
Yeah.
Don't stutter. Don't stutter, Joe.
Yeah, but again, not the night before the game, but you can't get behind those security guards. You can't get behind those security guards. So you might want it. You might want to do it, but I tell you what, Stu, not before, but when that Lombardi Trophy was hosted up, it was fair game.
Story. Yeah. Hey, man, a beautiful Monday night. It's your boys, Doug Stewart, Ryan Stewart, Two Live Stews. I was being somewhat facetious and somewhat funny, Joe. I wanted to see Doug have a little fit in, and he did just now. It was also funny to see you try to answer the question. You was hemming and hawing just now, Joe.
I know those things used to go on. It used to be when you call the other person's room or opponent room and try to get somebody distracted before the game. But I'm telling you, those guys were fine focus on a win. And did I ever tell you that? Did I ever tell you that story about what we did in the locker room after that Super Bowl?
No, I'd love to hear it.
Man, I'm just talking about the respect for Tony Dungy now. It was just all about respect for Tony Dungy. The biggest stage for John Gruden, biggest stage for Brooks, and all those guys on that football team. And after the trophy presentation on the football field, soon as we got into the locker, right in the middle of the locker room, everybody just having a good time. Gruden, Brooks, and All-Star, all those guys held up the trophy in about for a solid minute. Dungy, for a solid minute at the Super Bowl. With
right there in Gruden's face. Right there in Gruden's face.
Gruden had a hand on the trophy. What do you mean his face? He wasn't hiding. He was in the middle as well. That's the respect everybody has for Tony Dungy. When I saw that and I witnessed that, I said, this is a man that's a legend, icon in Tony Dungy. That's why I'm so happy he ended up getting him a trophy.
Wow. Gruden didn't have no attitude during that, did he? Was he cool with it? Was he saying Dungy also?
Man, he was trying to really give credit to how this team was already put together and how the team, all he had to do is fill out the offensive side of it like we all knew. And at that point, everybody knew we got to give Tony Dungy a shout out here. And yeah, he wasn't angst. He wasn't mad. He knew it because Tony Dungy built that team along with Monte Kiffin, and he was a glue that glued everything together.
Wow, finishing up.
Yep, it's your boys, the Two Live Stews, Doug Stewart, Ryan Stewart, finishing up with Joe Ham right now. We got to get a suggestion, Joe, and I almost wanted to ask you a question because we talked about John Gruden, and we know he's no longer in coaching, no longer in the booth calling games either because of an alleged racial situation. Off the top of your head, Joe, did you know John Gruden to be a little racy, or is he cool in your eyes as a coach and as an individual?
Cool in my eyes as a coach and as an individual. And that's all 100% knowing him how I know him as a coach. And all I know about John Gruden is he loves ball. That's it. He loves ball. He loves winning. And I think the racial thing about it, I think that's behind the doors, behind closed doors. I think that's, things taken out of context. Maybe I wasn't there, but I had no experience of any of my friends, former friends. Matter of fact, I talked to Warren Sapp right before Colorado was going to play in their bowl game. I know for a fact they would go to bat for the man. And with players, even Keyshawn Johnson would go to bat for John Gruden. And we know the history between Keyshawn Johnson and John Gruden. John Gruden sent Keyshawn home with pay for 8 games just for conduct detrimental to the team as far as wanting the ball. But he doesn't have anything against John Gruden. I think that's a little bit overblown, but I'm only speaking for myself. I was very surprised.
We'll get your thoughts on tonight's game before we get into a few more NFL things before we let you get out of here, Joe. And we do appreciate your time. It is Stewart Media and Entertainment, Doug Stewart, Ryan Stewart. It is a Stews Crew pop-up on a Monday night. Happy to spend some time with Joe Ham. Pick the game, Joe. I mean, you pretty much already tipped your hand, letting us know how you feel. I think there's one person on this show tonight that feels differently than you do. But give us your thoughts on the winner of this ball game and your score. It's him. It's him. It's him.
Well, see, that's the thing I love about football. I can make this case right now that why I believe that Philly is going to hold it down, hold the trophy up, because what they have done to get here. If you lean on Saquon Barkley, if you lean on Jalen Hurts being that run pass option with his legs in that defense, why not? But I see this game going back to Jalen Hurts having to win you a game. I said all those things about Jalen Hurts, and yes, he did play a good Super Bowl game, a great Super Bowl game the first time around. But Kansas City in that defense is going to put Jalen Hurts in a win the ball game mentality. Because I refuse to think that Saquon Barkley is going to average 6.8 yards a carry. I refuse to think that he's going to have over $150 in the Super Bowl game against the Kansas City Chiefs in that defense. And that's when Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown come to play. Who are you going to match up? How are you going to match up with Travis Kelce? I see Travis Kelce again. He didn't save himself last game, but the game plan was to get the outside guys in the middle of the field, get those guys the ball in their hands in space. But I think it's a whole different ball of wax. I look for Travis Kelce to have his 8-9 catches over 100 yards and a touchdown, because the Eagles themselves like to play that matchup type zone and leave you one-on-one. So I don't think that Jalen Hurts, the one I talked about, deserves his money, big-time quarterback, can say, get on my back with his arm and lead that team to a Super Bowl. I just don't think that can happen, and I think that's what they're going to be forced to do. No doubt about it. No, Saquon Barkley. Yeah, absolutely. The score I think is going to be 33-28. 33-28 Kansas City.
Close game. Close game.
Yes. And high scoring. That's still high scoring, isn't it?
That's plus 50 points.
Yeah.
That's plus 50 points. That's over for sure.
Ryan always talks in gambling terms, if you haven't noticed, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about that.
You see that? That's plus 50 points. That's plus 50 points. We wouldn't even talk about that, man.
Well, I'm gonna pull up the numbers real quick to see if it makes sense.
And so guys, if you take the quarterbacks off of the field, who's the best player on the field come Super Bowl Sunday?
Saquon.
The over is 49.5, and the favorite team is Kansas City at 1.5.
It was 2 this morning.
It was 2 this morning. So the numbers already moved with money coming in Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you said Saquon, huh, Doug?
Yeah. Easily. This man has had over 7 60-plus yard runs this year, Joe. If they feed him the ball, like the Ravens should have done last week in feeding Derrick Henry the ball, they went away from it just like they did the year before. If they feed this man the ball, if he gets 25 carries, I think they're going to win, Joe.
Yeah, but it's circumstantial. Just like last week, you brought up Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. They were feeding feeding Derrick Henry the ball, Doug. You got 2 possessions taken away from you.
Well,
2.
Not really feeding him the ball, Joe, because he only had 15 carries, and every time
I thought it was 18
plus. Every time he's had 16 plus, they've won.
Right, but again, when you turn the ball over on second down like Lamar Jackson did on that fumble when he was trying to be a hero, when you have the blown coverage like you punted the football, that was on first down. I mean, those drives could have been more carries for Derrick Henry. That's all I'm saying. I don't think they went away from it. I just think some of those drives got stopped because of the turnovers. Now, again, Doug, and I feel you, and I agree with you, but this is the NFL. You can't just simply say in the Super Bowl, feed Saquon and that's going to work. I just can't fathom that's working, which it has. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. I look at the game and I understand it, and you're right, feed Saquon, but I don't see them just giving Saquon
Joe,
what he's been given, man.
Joe, listen to me. Who am I to argue with the Heisman Trophy runner-up?
We're talking about a running back, man. You are a running back, so.
Not only was I a running back, I was the 2-time 2 Live Stews Madden League champion. So I know X's and O's. Okay?
Yes.
So if they feed the ball to Saquon, yes, they might defensively, the Chiefs might put a bunch of guys in the block, in the box, stop him. But what's that doing? That's freeing up one-on-one matchups on the outside. The tight end's going to become a one-on-one matchup. You have opportunities if you just keep feeding them the ball. You can't get away from the run. That's what happened to Baltimore last week. They got stopped a couple of times, and They just forgot about what Derrick Henry did the whole year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel like if they give Saquon his carries, it's going to loosen up everything defensively for Kansas City, and you're going to have more opportunities with Brown on the outside. You're going to have more opportunities down the field in general. So I'm hoping that they stick with the game plan and they execute the game plan. And I think that's the recipe for winning this game this weekend or next weekend, 2 weekends from now.
That's very smooth, Coach, and I like it. But you didn't say anything in your pick there about how they were going to stop the Chiefs.
Right.
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Well, well, quickly, the Chiefs. We talked about this morning. Out of all the years that they've come into the Super Bowl game, this is the weakest season that they've had, I believe. They've had a bunch of close games that they found a way to win. Even this past weekend was very close.
17 score or less games won by the Chiefs this past season. 17 straight.
That's a lot. I just think they have an opportunity. If any team could be had from all of these great Kansas City Chiefs teams over the last 6 or 7 years since Patrick Mahomes has been here, I think this is the year to do it. And I think the Eagles are hitting on all cylinders. We talked about Jalen Hurts being hurt. He didn't look hurt to me this past weekend. This is the prime opportunity for somebody to get Kansas City is what I'm saying.
I like it, Doug. Let me give you a quick nugget, though, about, the weapons Kansas City has offensively. That's more scary than anything for me than having a go-to guy. Because all those guys, if you don't really know who the key on, if you don't really know who to load up and put a safety on the top of, or put it, and with Andy Reid and his creativity, is it going to be the Hollywood Brown show? Is it going to be Xavier Worthy? What about Travis Kelce? What about Pacheco? What about Kareem Hunt? With all those things, and by the way, you got to remember the legs of Patrick Mahomes in big-time situations. So, that too, when you can be like a Magic Johnson and kind of dishing it out to a lot of different people, a lot of different receivers. We shall see. That's why I think right now it's going to be an outstanding game.
I love watching Pacheco, man.
Pacheco
runs like a madman.
He runs hard.
He's like beast mode. He's like beast mode.
He runs like people tease him because he's smaller than the average running back, and he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah, I love watching
wrapping
him,
things
man.
up right now in the Doghouse with your boys, the Two Live Stews. Doug Stewart, Ryan Stewart. We're happy to be joined by the runner-up to the Heisman Trophy in 1999, Joe Hamilton, in the building with the Two Live Stews. This is a Stews Crew pop-up. All right, we got your choice, Joe. You like KC. I like KC. Doug likes the Eagles. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be somewhere around 5 or 6 points. You said 5 points or so. So we'll move on. And again, if you find it in your heart to change your mind a little bit later, we'll have several opportunities for you to do so before the game is played in a week plus from now. You're a Cowboy fan, aren't you, Joe?
Absolutely.
Brian Schottenheimer, how you feel about that?
Everybody from Alvin a Cowboy fan.
No, it's Pittsburgh too. Pittsburgh.
and Steelers. Our age demographic, yeah.
Now, a lot of people going sour on Brian Schottenheimer, Joe, a career lifer because his dad was a head coach for 4 decades in the National Football League. He's got history with the Dallas Cowboys. He got history with Dak Prescott. I made some points earlier this morning about when Dak is the bulk of your cap, you got to do everything you can to make him comfortable. Who better to help make Dak comfortable than the guy that was his coordinator during the best statistical career of his playing days. Give us your thoughts on Brian Schottenheimer, Joe.
Well, is there any room for more salt to be poured on?
Yes.
As long as you tell us how you feel, it's all good.
I got some more salt to pour on the hire. I want to have Sandman come and boo that right off the stage. I mean, I really do, because again, I look at it and I think it was very lazy. Is Schottenheimer, does he know how to coach? Yes. I mean, that's in his genes. He's been around football for a long, long time. His dad, we all know about it. So he can coach ball, but I mean, it's more about just coaching ball. That's pressure. That's expectations. Are you really running the team, or are you just one of those puppet type deal that they talk about Jerry Jones and the coaches so many times, or have talked about him in the past that way? What is his deal? What is he bringing to the table? What do we know about him? So I think it's fair for me to say that I think is a lazy hire because we don't know anything about his past. Has he led a unit? You can talk about first-time head coaches that weren't coordinators all you want. You can bring up John Harbaugh. You can bring up maybe whoever you want to bring up that weren't coordinators at first. But he had a room in Philadelphia with the special teams. At least he had to lead a group. What group did Brian Schottenheimer lead? Mike McCarthy called the plays. So that's what I'm questioning, the leadership. And were there any other candidates that you tried to get? And I think you settled back on Brian Schottenheimer. And my only question now is, does he have that locker room? Michael Parsons, respect. Is Dak Prescott saying he respects him just because that he worked with him last year? All those type things. And I'm not contradicting myself. And I'm going to say this. I thought Kellen Moore was a good candidate for that job. Why? Because Dak Prescott had a great year. Dak Prescott was flourishing under Kellen Moore. The reason why Kellen Moore got fired because he was selfish. Why was he so selfish? Because he wanted to lead the league in scoring. He wanted to lead the league in passing numbers, and that wasn't the recipe that Coach Mike McCarthy wanted to have. So I don't know who's out there because I know that's the next question. Well, Joe, who did you want other than Brian Schottenheimer? Who was the hot guys?
Where were you at on Where were you at on Deion?
It would be a really good hire in due time, but the expectations wasn't to win right away from Deion coming and changing the culture in year one. But I would have been much higher on Deion than I am with Brian Schottenheimer. Much higher. Just the locker room demand, just the ability to go out there and see coaching talent. Now Schottenheimer is going to get coaching talent. What's your relationship like in the NFL to where you can hire a good defensive coordinator? Eberflus, I'm here. His name is floating around as defensive coordinator. I like to hire only if you can build a former coach, coordinate the defense, and a former head coach coordinate the offense. Other than that, I thought it was very lazy by Jerry Jones settling with Brian Schottenheimer. Big time
Doug,
settling.
you said you had a few things for Joe, Doug. What you got?
Well, let's touch upon the one other big coaching news. Well, there's actually two others. There's other.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you first about Liam Cohen, the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know you shouldn't judge anybody from how they look, but he looked like dead man walking already. He ain't had day one
out
yet.
Of water.
He don't even look like water. He don't even look like a coach. He don't even look like a coach. I mean, I'm wrong for that. I know I'm wrong for that. But what do you think about that hire? Or do you have any opinion about any commentary about Liam Cohen, the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars? He looked like to me that he's dead man walking, like he's already on the clock to be fired in 2 years.
Well, that's his looks. But on the surface, and that's all I have right now, Doug, is on the surface, I think he's a great hire. I mean, because again, I have to stop really, trying to say who I like and judge them or like and how they look. I have to stop doing that because other than the numbers as far as leading the league and scoring, why is Ben Johnson such a great candidate for the Chicago Bears? And
because of what he's done in Detroit for the last 3 years, Joe.
And why is Liam Cohen not a great choice for the Jacksonville Jaguars? And I know what Ben Johnson has done for Detroit. Yes, in 3 years. What did Liam Cohen do in 1 year coming in for Dave Corrales, who went to North Carolina, the Carolina Panthers? Liam Cohen really kept Baker Mayfield steady. Tampa Bay was in the top echelon of scoring. I mean, they had an excellent offense, running game, two-headed monster, Mike Evans on the outside, all those wide receivers, but injuries that wide receivers.
With Buckley, a running back that nobody gave the time to pay for before the season started.
Yeah, so Liam Cohen, that's all I can go off, that he is an excellent offensive coordinator. And he kept Baker Mayfield doing some really good things. And you have Trevor Lawrence over there in Jacksonville. Same thing, an offensive-minded coach and a young quarterback. That is why I like to hire right now with not knowing too much about Liam Cohen. But, again, Trevor Lawrence, he's very close, guys. He's very close to being one of those first-round pick that just didn't live up to the hype. Yeah. I don't like the bust. I don't like saying he's a bust because it's too much time. Because how many of us, I have my hand up, said that Baker Mayfield was done. Mm-hmm. He was through. But now he already came back with a vengeance last couple of years. So Trevor Lawrence is on deck now for me, guys. I mean, you can point all the fingers about Team Around and Coach Meyer and Doug Peterson. Some of the blame goes to the quarterback sometimes as well.
Aaron Glenn in the Jets and with the New York Jets, two-time Pro Bowler, great cornerback. Well, great maybe a strong word, but very, very good cornerback. To make a couple Pro Bowls, you were a very good player.
Yes.
What about? I don't know if you saw his press conference coming out
I did.
kind of fiery. He's the new head coach of the Jets. Your thoughts?
Locker room guy, football guy. If he had came out any other way with the little church speak, or the library speak, soft spoken, like he's not fired up, I wouldn't have thought that was the right guy, because that's changing his stripes. He's a fiery guy, and I think he'll do well. And it goes back to, can you be a guy that has cachet around the league? And why I say that, who's your offensive coordinator and who's your defensive coordinator? I don't like coaches, or I would rather not have a coach on the sideline calling plays. I know about Kyle Shanahan. I know about Sean McVay. I know about Matt LaFleur, those guys that call their own plays. I know D'Amico Ryans calls his defense there in Houston. I don't want my guy like that. I want my guy to be a CEO like Mike Tomlin, watching special teams, watching offense, watching defense, have his hands all in it. But here you go, guys. And I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but I'm bringing back Aaron Rodgers. I am bringing back. He said,
I said that as well today.
I'm bringing back Aaron Rodgers because I didn't see him falling off a cliff last year. I see him playing winning football.
Right.
Now his antics before the season and going off doing training camp, mandatory camp, I think Aaron Glenn will handle that. He'll make sure that none of that me type of situation comes out. But I'll go back to, who in free agency are you going to get? You don't have a top 5 pick, so they can't solidify their quarterback in the draft, nor in free agency. So why not stick with Aaron Rodgers?
I got 2 last questions, okay?
First question, brother.
First question, Jaden Daniels. I don't even know the words to use to describe the year that he's had. But on the flip side, we in Atlanta, what are your thoughts about what you saw to Michael Penix Jr.? And do you feel like me that I feel like the future is very bright with this kid. He showed me a lot in a little bit of time that he got at the end of the season. What are your thoughts about Penix Jr.?
Oh, outstanding. Outstanding future. He's poised. Staying in college for so many years, battling injuries, he learned a lot. And what he showed me when he got in the game, that he didn't spend his first 13 weeks, 13 games just holding the clipboard. This guy prepared like he was the starter, and we can tell by the last 3 games he started that nothing was too fast. I mean, he made his checks, he made his throws, he maneuvered in the pockets. He wasn't antsy. He wasn't just throwing the ball in no man's land. I love that in him. And again, the quarterback position in the NFL is very, very safe. Very safe. Man, we can rumble off 10 quarterbacks, and I think you, me, and Stu would come up with different top 10s easily. Because, excuse me, I've moved Jaden Daniels in my top 5. And I don't care what anybody says to me about prisoner of the moment, 1 year, Joe. Give it one more year.
He played good enough. He played good enough to win that damn game this past weekend. It wasn't because of him that they lost.
He was the reason why they were in it so long. Hey, and this is what I would say about Jaden Daniels. I love him so much. That is right there how you draw him up, guys. That's the quarterback of the NFL. Exactly how you draw them up. Exactly. Now, a lot of people would say Josh Allen. I kind of agree, but Josh Allen is not as shifty. Josh Allen is a bulldozer. This guy, Jaden Daniels, is elusive. He'll beat you when you blitz him with his arm. He'll beat you with blitzing with his legs. He'll do so many different things, and that is the quarterback the NFL is going to. He's not running games just to get out there and blindly doing it. And eventually, that's why I think he will have a better career, in my opinion. This is going to be a hot take. Eventually, he'll have a better career than Lamar Jackson. Eventually. And the sole reason I say that is because he's a guy that I see when you take his legs away in year 15, 16, the way your speed is going down a little bit. He's a guy that's going to be able to sit right in that pocket and deliver it like a pocket quarterback. I see him transferring his latter years, 38, 39, into a pure passing quarterback, deadly accurate.
We're talking about the number 2 overall pick who guided the Washington Commanders to its first playoff win in 20 plus years. What about a rookie slump, Joe? What about a second-year setback? What about everybody having film on him to study this offseason? What about, next year he won't be a surprise to anyone he plays?
Oh, that's a great point. Solid point. Did C.J. Stroud have a sophomore slump?
Not really. He played good enough.
But did he have a slump?
It was a slump compared to his first year, yes.
Yes, and it's easier for them to get a book or get a bead or do their homework on C.J. Stroud. That's a pocket passer. What more does he bring to the table? Yeah, you can disguise. You can look and see where he want to throw the ball, favor left or right, short passes, intermediate, deep ball, yeah. What are you going to stop with Jaden Daniels? That's the question. Arm, legs, zone read. It's so much to scout. So, yeah, Jay, I don't anticipate a sophomore slump because this guy has all the tools in his toolbox, man.
I like him a lot. I just hadn't seen that was one of the things that I loved about Michael Vick. Yes, he had a real strong arm, and yes, he was elusive and could get out of the pocket, could move the pocket, but he was just always cool as a fan. And when you're cool as a fan and not concerned about the level of play on this level of the National Football League, that's an immeasurable asset to have.
Yes.
And Jaden Daniels has that.
And I'll make this real quick. That's what I love. Michael Vick, in the first 3 years of anybody's career, I think Michael Vick, even now, would be the first quarterback we all taking off the books. Off the block, we taking Michael Vick if it's all about the first 3 years. But again, Michael Vick, if he gets down to year 15 and 16, can he be that in-the-pocket passer when he can't run a 4.3 anymore? That's when I'm judging guys with longevity and being able to train. Cam Newton is a perfect example. I love Cam Newton. I love me some Cam Newton, but he didn't develop that. He didn't develop to be able to go from one side of the field to the next, going from one read to the next read, hitting the check down, all those type things. I didn't think he developed the way he should as a passer in his latter years.
Joe, do you guys this is the last thing for me. You got something, Ryan?
No, I'm just going to give a shout out to the super chatters and everybody else, and then we'll keep it moving.
Do you guys feel like me? Do you guys feel like that these dudes that started this TGL, I guess it stands for, I don't know, it stands for the Golf League? I don't know.
No, sir. Don't do it like that.
What does it stand for? What does it stand for?
Tomorrow's Golf League. Tomorrow.
Yeah. Do you think that these guys in the Golf League should have just took all the money that they came together with to start this league, put it in a dumpster, and just light it on fire?
No, I don't.
Huh?
No, I don't.
You think this league is going to last? Y'all entertained by this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what I think is,
I can't even watch it for 10 minutes, man. It's not appealing.
At a minimum, it's created another business model for us to do things such as Topgolf.
Yeah, but I don't.
At a minimum.
But what I'm saying is the money they put into it to produce it. Do you think people are going to watch it? Like, I know it's on, but when we're done with this, I'm not going to turn on the TV to watch it.
Well, I will.
You will?
I will.
You think it's a lot of y'all out there that's watching this?
Yes. I mean, but what about the timing, Doug? Doug, what about the timing of it, Doug? Now, again, are you going to Big Monday in college basketball? Are you going to watch Duke tonight? Or are you going to read up or something? Well, are you going to read? Are you? I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, that's the whole thing. It's no Monday Night Football. So now from 6:30 and you turn into golf. And this is why I love it. They didn't put on a league and they didn't put on something and, the superstars are sitting with their hands folded. You get to see Tiger Woods and not a flailing Tiger Woods.
I was just about to say, Tiger's out there, man. He's out there.
Rory McIlroy, you're seeing out there, and those guys are having fun. I like the fact that they're mic'd up and shooting the breeze. I like the hammer where they're challenging each other. Now, it's all about what are you looking for. Now, if you're looking for the Masters type atmosphere, Doug, you're not going to get that. Tell me this, Doug. When you tune in regular golf from Thursday, or not from Thursday, because we rarely do that, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, will you tune in for the Buick Open?
If Tiger playing, yeah.
Okay, well, Tiger's playing.
Tiger's playing
tonight.
Tiger's playing.
You know what it is, and y'all a little bit younger than me. Y'all a little bit. You probably several years younger than me.
Just a tad bit.
Please remember what you're gonna say, man. You do know this is part of the reasons why they created it, right? Because this is something that Tiger can do.
For how long, Stu? For how long?
Well, I mean,
No, it's I'm
he's
saying
not
for
walking no course. He ain't walking no course.
my point is he can do it for 10 to 15 more years.
Agreed. Agreed.
Here's the thing. I asked y'all this, and y'all sound like y'all on board. I played poker with about 12 dudes last weekend, all my age or older. So I'm saying 53 to 65, retired cats. To a man, each one of them said, I ain't watching that bullshit. I ain't watching that. You watching that? I ain't watching that. And these are the same guys I play golf with. Not one of them said that they're interested in or have watched more than 5 minutes of this thing.
Well,
I'm telling you, the older demo don't like it.
Doug,
is what I'm telling you.
Well, they don't like it, Doug. I mean, don't make me talk about the older gentleman because again, it sounds like a little bit. I'm not trying to get off of my lawn. I don't want anything new. Don't bring that new age to me. I want to be stuck outside of technology. Come on, Doug. Because again, right now I can't say for me, and I love golf. I can't say golf is appointment TV anyway. I can't say every golf season is on its way now. I can't say every single tournament I'm tuning in for. But when it's on tonight, when I saw that on ESPN at 6:30 tonight will be Tiger's team against Rory's team, I said, ooh, I'm going to tune in for that. Yes. Now next week, I might miss it next Tuesday. I might miss it.
They should have took all the money they used to start this league, go to Blue Flame and make it rain for 2 days in a row.
But also, man, everybody that started the league, they're not hurting for the change that it takes to start this thing, man. And they're probably not even using their own money, man.
Yeah, you're right. They got sponsors. They got hella sponsors.
Right, they got hella sponsors that's willing to put that money in to make this thing, see if it can float, man. And I think it's going to float because of the people that are in place to help it float.
Get off my lawn.
They got that Saudi Arabia money, man.
That's true.
That's right.
Hey.
That's right.
Hey, Joe, man, Stu's
Yes,
pop
sir.
up on a Monday, man. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate it, man.
No doubt about it,
Appreciate you,
fella.
Joe.
Yes, sir.
Whatever y'all do, man, everybody that's paying attention, everybody in the chat room, thank y'all very much for being in the chat. We'll do a better job of reading more chat next go round. You guys get an A+. Joe gets an A+. Doug gets an A+. I see the Nutty Dread popped up after work. We appreciate you, Dread. He gets an A+. This Wednesday.
Shouts out to everybody with the super stickers, the super chat.
I'm going to get to them for sure. This Wednesday, we will have a no-show appearance at 7 o'clock with Nadi and Arlie. And then at 9 o'clock, we'll have
In the huddle with Joe Ham.
In the huddle with Joe Ham. Okay?
There it is.
Y'all make sure you pull up for that. Shouts out to Melvin Echoes. Shouts out to Tree Taylor. Shouts out to Carrie Portis. And shouts out to Al Conte, man. Thank y'all very much. We ain't got no jobs. Ain't no money coming in with this. We're doing all we can to turn a dollar.
I have a job.
I have one too. I'm a servant. Hey, you guys tripped me out the other day talking about Xavier Leggett and the coon. Boy, I wanted to chop in. So, hey man, coon is some good eating in the Low Country, brother. It's some really, really good eating.
Yo,
man.
you eat coon, Joe?
Man, I have 8 coon. I have 8 coon. And again, when we knew coon was on the menu, yeah, it was a special deal in the Low Country of Alvin, South Carolina. Yeah.
What about possum?
No, not possum. Coon, rabbit. Deer
Right.
meat. Deer. You guys eat venison.
Yeah.
All right, same thing, guys. Come on.
And venison is a little it's a little gamey.
A little gamey.
That's the best word I can come with. But
And if you don't make it right, it's hard to eat too.
it's
Yeah,
very
man, you
tough.
can boil the game out of it, man. You can boil the game out of it, guys. You guys should know this.
Hey, I ain't never ate no damn coon. I told a story.
I heard the story, man.
One of my
coon
teammates'
stew?
house in McCormick, South Carolina. They had possum over rice in a stew.
Man,
I ate it. I ate it like a G.
Man, that's no different from beef stew, man. No different from beef stew, man.
Y'all better than
Put over
me.
some rice and gravy, man. Good eating.
I gotta remind y'all, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. If you don't know Him, you need to find Him and show Him love. That's all He's showing you, nothing but love. The Two Live Stews and the Two Live Stews Experience will be looking forward to seeing you again this Thursday morning at 7 o'clock. Don't forget about the No Show at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Don't forget about the Joe Ham Show this Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
And Joe, These people in Atlanta, they have no idea where we from.
Oh my
Now,
God.
we've done well for ourselves for the most part, doing radio stuff and
My God.
the trophy runner-ups. But trust me when I tell you, okay, we from the country.
We are
country.
from the country. And I'm just embracing now. I'm reading up on Gullah Geechee. That's what I'm at. Gullah Geechee. I'm embracing it, man. We Gullahs, man.
And you were speaking it your whole life.
Yeah, and I was ashamed of it. I was ashamed of it until now.
Yeah.
Hey, thank y'all for joining the Stu's Crew pop-up tonight, man. We appreciate y'all's participation. We appreciate y'all being here, man. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Doug. It was awesome, man. Had fun. Looking forward to the next one, man. We'll see y'all on Wednesday, and we'll see y'all on Thursday morning for the next Two Line Stu's experience, man. Peace.
Yes, sir.